Hello everybody and welcome to another AZ Off-Road video. I'm Scotty, thank you for joining me today. This one's going to be a little bit different, a little bit shorter, but the goal is to basically debrief the Gila County special that just wrapped up here on our channel. So if you haven't seen those 4 parts, would highly recommend going to watch that first. It was a very long, very enjoyable trip that I actually took almost a year ago now, but just wanted to take this opportunity to really sit down, debrief it a little bit, talk just a little bit more about it, and then it'll be behind us and on to the next series of trips and content and other things. So for the structure of this video, we're just going to be running through some questions that were brought up in the comments on all 4 parts of the video, as well as some other topics that I think might be interesting to further chat about just a little bit. And of course, if you have any other questions related to the trip or anything, please feel free to comment on this video. By the time this video goes live, I'm hoping to have responded to at least all of the comments on the Gila County trip. It's really hard to keep up with the comments just because they come in so fast and they're across a wide range of videos, but at least on the most recent videos, I try to keep up with all of the recent comments. So hopefully I'll have answered your question either directly on the video or in this kind of Q&A debrief video. And of course, after chatting about that for a little bit, going to run through some of the bloopers, the fun moments, the things that didn't necessarily make the cut on the main video. That'll be at the end of this video. So before getting into questions, I do just want to say a quick thank you. This trip personally was a blast to make. It was probably one of, if not the most enjoyable trips, rewarding trips, solo trips that I've been on. Again, it was almost a year ago to the day when I'm recording this, so kind of crazy to think about just how many things have happened since, but it was such a good trip and I look forward to many more trips like it. Just in terms of the adventuring, the scenery, the pacing of the trip, everything just went so well, and how it came together and how I was able to shoot it was, really something that I'm proud of and really something I enjoyed. So just wanted to say that, and also thank you for the very warm reception of the video. Of course, I do these trips for fun, and the videos are just kind of a byproduct, but it's always great to see the videos appreciated and received well, and just all of the positive feedback related to this trip really just helps to encourage me to do more trips like it in the future. So thank you for watching the series. Thank you for chiming in and commenting and for the continued support. It really does mean a lot, and I sincerely appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into some of the questions and topics from the videos. And I am going to have my phone out reading off some of the questions, so I do apologize for that. Anyways, Delvin Morales asks, where was the dessert results? I need to see how it came out in a review of the new dessert. This question, and also a couple people have asked for beer reviews. I did show and talk about the dessert more in part 4. So if you've watched that, that's the answer. Long story short, it was great. But for the beer reviews, maybe I'll try to incorporate a few more tasting notes into it. Typically, I drink a lot of IPAs, so I kind of like the juicy, hoppy, hazy flavors. I think the beer that was in question for this series was the Dank IPA by Four Peaks. It was basically a bottle of hops, very, 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 very hoppy. But still pretty good, good every once in a while. It's not something I would shock my palate with every day, but I'll try to incorporate some more tasting notes in the future. Okay, JS4190 says, love the content, love the quality, keep up the good work. You need a battery-operated chainsaw, makes easy work of felled and down trees, and you manage your firewood situation in a few minutes, and chainsaws are cool, even with a battery. I agree. Very cool. That would be a great thing to have in the arsenal. Haven't quite really needed that. Again, I live in the desert, so not to say I don't go through the forest on trips, but predominantly the trails I do, I don't really need that. This was the first time I really came across it, but I agree it would be something good to potentially carry in the future, especially if I'm going to be going through an area such as the Mogollon Rim or one of the national forests here, especially on those less popular trails where if I hadn't been there to, move the tree, there was a road grader just like 10 minutes behind me. On those more remote trails, it could be days, weeks before anyone actually gets back there. And so in a situation like that, it certainly would behoove me to have some sort of method to chop the tree, and I agree a chainsaw would be fun. it'd make getting firewood super easy. So thank you for that tip. Matt Murphy asks, just out of curiosity, how much do you air down your tires? So I have my Ston deflator set to somewhere between 15 and 18 pounds. I'm kind of at the point where I need to go back and just double check that they're all still where I set them. Just because when you take them in and out, you might bump the threading, might adjust it just a little bit. So it's always good to periodically go back and check to make sure you're at the right pressures you want. But when I put them on, I do usually double check the tire pressure itself just to make sure they're operating as they should. So, from highway pressure, somewhere 32, 34 pounds, I'll take them down to below 20 for sure. Somewhere between 15 and 20 is usually where I end up. GeoQuest Outdoors, great second vid to your Gila special. Enjoyed it as usual. Did you ever find out what went wrong with your winch? Hope it's something simple so you don't have to replace the whole thing. Yes, this definitely is a little bit of an embarrassing story, but it was basically a wiring issue. When I got home, basically popped the hood open and looked around and found out we had done some work, I think on the isolator or on the battery or something, some kind of connector. We simply left the ground off the winch, so it wasn't properly wired up, which absolute rookie mistake. And I'm one of those things where I could have found that had I looked harder, but just the way the wiring was tucked, like with the isolator and everything, it's kind of on the side, kind of on the bottom, so I didn't get a good look at it on the trail, but ended up attaching one post back to the battery, and the winch works great, works fine, works as it should. Again, a little bit embarrassing, a little bit of a lesson to learn in the future to double check your work and also to test out your equipment before you hit the trail. So super easy fix. The winch still works, and you live and you learn. Trucking 325 to follow that up asks, how's the Jeep holding up? Still good. Still gets me around from point A to point B. Still takes me on fun adventures. It is a 94, so I try to, I don't want to say baby it, but I try to take care of it the best I can, be gentle with it most of the time. Obviously put it through its paces on some adventures, but just some standard maintenance stuff, CV axles. A lot of the things are just cosmetic on the inside, like the headliner, the door locks and handles could use an upgrade just because they're so old. But generally speaking, the Jeep still runs great. Still gets me from point A to point B, still gets me on all these trips and adventures. So I keep taking care of it, and it keeps taking care of me, and I can't complain. Not a question, but I do want to thank Mike on part 1 of the video. He has a very long comment regarding the Battle of Big Dry Wash. This is one of the things that I love about putting out content like this, is that people usually chime in with either personal stories, or maybe this is an area of expertise that they've studied a lot or know a lot about. They chime in and they build the story. So if you want to know something more about something I talked about, there's a chance in the comments there might be a deep dive or maybe a way to point towards more information. So thank you for people that do that, in this case Mike, but also just if you're chiming in with a deep dive or personal story or nerdy story, I'm here for it and I love it, so please keep doing that. AZ Frank and Ho says, hey Scotty, which mapping apps do you use to plan your trips and navigate on the trail? So to plan, I pretty much just use Google Earth. I've mentioned it before, but I spend a fair amount of time just exploring in Google Earth, building, itineraries, trips, future adventure ideas on Google Earth. And so pre-trip will be a lot of that, stringing routes together. And I usually make a physical paper copy just to carry with me as a reference. I very rarely actually need to use it, just because the act of making this super detailed itinerary usually helps ingrain it in my brain. But when I'm out on the trail, I'll have that, and then I'll have my entire itinerary from Google Earth imported into Gaia GPS on my phone. I just have the free version, and so if I have questions about the route, I'm able to quickly pull it up and see where I'm at, where I should be, where I need to be, and also if there's a change of plans, I can pin different things for later reference. So I really just use Gaia on the trail. It's also good for hiking. I use it to record my trip logs and whatnot, and just for general navigation and pinning things on the map. I've had really good success with it, really like it. And then when I get back home, I'll put it all back into Google Earth, and then the cycle continues back of planning the next trip. So those are the kind of the two main things I use on the trail and also at home when planning. This person says, love your content, Scotty, especially the travel series. AZ has an amazing history. Like the other commenter stated, I would love to join if you ever put together a group run. That's a question that pops up fairly often regardless of what trip, so I'll just address that now. I would like to do one. In the time since I went on this trip and when this video comes out, I've actually done two kind of trial runs basically. I did a short Jeep run up near Payson, just a quick little day trip with some other off-roaders. We did just a quick trail run, and then also I've done an overnight trip with one of my subscribers and a fellow content creator here on YouTube. Both of those will be future videos, so I am kind of testing the waters and trying to figure out what the logistics of, a group run would look like, if it's just a day trip, if it's an overnight trip. I'm getting closer to actually stringing something together. So I know I keep saying I would love to do one day, and I still would, but I think we're getting just a little bit closer in terms of actually seeing what that looks like, how it goes, making some adjustments, and then putting something out for people to join, and whether it's in a limited number or just kind of put it out there, and if you show up, you show up. I really have had fun on those two trips, and of course do a wide range of solo trips with family, trips with other people, and so it's nice to have that variety, and I think a big kind of group run, overnight run would be cool and might not be that far off in the future. Right, this one comes from Jeanette Stefanik. Sorry if I butchered your name. Love the episode. Do you run a drone while you drive? No experience with drones myself, but this seems a challenge. I like the aerial views. And then goes on to say, but yes, I do. I'm a one-man band. I shoot, film, drive, explore, edit, all the things. It's just me. I do appreciate when I go on trips with other people, because then I can focus more on the drone flying or the shooting, but I've kind of gotten into a pretty good rhythm of putting the drone up, driving carefully, driving safely, doing it in places where there's no other traffic or no other risk to people. And the drone does have some autopilot functions in terms of following moving objects and so on, but I'd say 95% of the shots are manually controlled, where I am just on a road and I'm, in one hand have the flight controls, just kind of operating the drone, doing my best to get some cinematic shots, avoid trees, things like that. And on this trip in particular, I was actually using two drones. So I have a Phantom 4 Pro by DJI, and I also have the DJI Mini 2. I use the Mini 2 a lot on this trip. It helped getting a lot of shots in really tight places, like in the forest, driving through the trees. It was very quick to get up in the air, get some quick shots. So I was able to incorporate the drone use a lot more. I always try to feature a lot of drone footage to begin with, but having the two drones set up and then just kind of getting into that rhythm really allowed me to incorporate it in a lot more ways that I hadn't before this trip. So great question. Thanks for asking. Let me know if you have more questions about the drones, because I love to talk about drones. Cactus Kiwi on the part 4 video says, one of my favorite hobbies is watching your videos and trying to find your campsites on Google Maps. It's like a mini adventure. Thanks for sharing another epic trip with us. Thank you for that kind comments. I also do the same thing. I kind of like to make a game out of trying to find out people's campsites and whatnot if I see a really good spot in a video. If you have questions, feel free to ask me. I don't like to gatekeep information in terms of coordinates and campsites. I do share some of that information on Patreon, so a big thank you to the patron supporters. But I mainly do that just as a bonus to thank them. I'm not trying to gatekeep, so if you want coordinates or something, feel free to ask. I do try to be transparent about showing them in the video. I don't try to hide anything. I just believe in sharing that information, sharing the appreciation and the backstory behind these places, as well as the access to them. I feel like that goes a long way in terms of preserving them and letting other people also appreciate them. So kind of a long way to say, if you want coordinates or directions or whatever, feel free to reach out and ask. So many of all the videos were very, very positive, like great feedback, especially part 4. A lot of people chiming in and saying that this was one of the best trips I've ever made, and that they really like the channel. But I do sincerely appreciate all the comments. If I didn't get back to you, I apologize. If you have further questions, feel free to chime in on this video or any of the other trip videos. Do appreciate you watching this series, watching this debrief video even. I know this is not going to have the normal reach of the whole main series. It's not a big exciting adventure video. I'm just kind of reading through some comments, talking about some things from my editing desk. You know, nothing super exciting there, but hopefully this can be some nice closure. Kind of closing the chapter on the Gila County trip. That's been such a big part of my life, working on it for, you know, the last year roughly, and look forward to sharing many more adventures like this, small trips, big trips, and everything in between. So just wanted to say that now and say thank you for watching. At this point in the video, I'm going to get on to rolling some of the bloopers, the extended outtakes, the fun things, whatever I can scrounge together that didn't make the main video series. I usually put that at the post-credits scene, but the part 4 was already so long, and I figured it'd be better to just throw it on here. That way, if you wanted to keep watching it, it'll be there. And then once that's over, then the Gila County trip is officially wrapped. Thank you for watching the Gila County special, and as always, we'll see you on the next one. So enjoy the bloopers and outtakes. We'll tag back into globe. There's a truck in there. Septic tank truck. To make a joke, but you probably don't appreciate it. And there's got to be you got to see how it just extends out. And tomorrow is going to be more of the same. There's a lot more rim to cover, and there's an airplane. Wear a lot of red. Oh, we got a text. Who's it from? The text, and it's from Megan. She asked, "Thanks for letting me know," because I don't have cell coverage, so I'm using the inReach whenever I'm out of coverage to let some close people know I'm safe. And she asked, "Is the view better?" Yes. Not in like the traditional big view sense, but from earlier, like, would have been a very tight camp. This just feels a lot more relaxing and open. And I got some peaks in the distance, makes it a bit calmer, nice and open. Yeah, I'm busy. Who would have thought for having no cell coverage I'd be this busy? Anyways, yeah, so a nice foresty camp. Yeah, I just realized that probably like yeah, should be good. Been stacking the cast iron and dish towels so they potentially don't rattle as much when I'm going down like a washboard road. And so far, I think it is actually quieter. I think. So normally on a trip, I try to bring like a local variety of beers, just to kind of like, I don't know, make it a little more interesting. But kind of went with the old standbys this trip. Of course, got the Four Peaks Hazy. You've been seeing me drink the Santan Juicy Jack, not a sponsor yet. And of course the PBR. I also have another Four Peaks one, like called Recreational Juice or something. It's classified as a dank IPA. They're all been good. I mean, they're all kind of like hazy IPA except for the PBR. So yeah, just kind of rocking the old standbys this trip. It's also that point in the trip where Not saying I'm getting lonely, but you know, it's just nice to talk, even if it's to myself. I'm still talking. Don't worry. Still talking. Still mic'd up. Oh boy. Oh boy. Come on. Water boil. Flavors. The textures. You have the protein with the steak. You have the nice noodles. The kind of sweet, spicy kind of broth that it's been cooking in. Freaking dig it. Freaking dig it. Alright, it's snowing again. Nice hot breakfast here. Hot. Ooh, hot. Like I said, nice hot breakfast. Woo! Now this mine wasn't your typical gold mine or silver mine or copper mine. No, this was an asbestos mine. And let me just grab a piece right here to show you. This would be like the serpentine or serpentinite or the chrysotile, which they were going after. It's got kind of this greenish hue to it. I'll show you in a close-up. But this stuff is just literally laying all over the ground here. And there's a giant bucket, elevator, or scoop kind of thing that would have been used to just process through all this ore. So I guess while we're sitting here enjoying this beer and admiring the view, now that we're done with the hike, I want to talk a little bit about how I find places like this. So there's a lot of time spent in Google Earth. Sometimes I just wander around and drop pins and, you know, kind of investigate based off satellite imagery, and I found some really cool stuff this way. And I found some really cool stuff that way. For this one in particular, I was actually planning for this trip, doing some research and whatnot, some different trails. I have an overlay that has all of the USGS MRDS, which stands for Mineral Resource Data System, I think. And that basically has an overlay of every single mine prospect working throughout Arizona, and it goes by county. And oftentimes when I'm planning a trip like this, I'll just turn that on, and then I'll see if there's anything nearby my route, or even if it's a little off my route. If it's cool enough looking, I'll make the detour to go see it. But I'd found a couple of mines that way for this trip in particular, not this mine actually. And I found a picture with that excavator thing, and that immediately piqued my interest, and I didn't know where it was. The photo didn't have a name of the mine, or didn't have a location. It just said that it was an asbestos mine or something. So from there I went back into Google Earth, started like plowing through some of the different ones in this area, and sure enough, within like 5-10 minutes I found the American Ores mine and dropped the pin, and it became part of this trip. So really, from finding just a photo on social media or on the internet or whatever, I was able to find the name of the mine, you know, look it up on Google Earth and see, hey, there's that excavator thing on the mountain, and then here's how to get to it. Now this road, Forest Road 49, definitely difficult. I probably could have kept going a little bit, but I am by myself and I don't want to push it, especially some of those washouts and stuff. There's no turnaround option, and I'm not going to do anything explicitly stupid and get stuck. So just may as well hike it. I've done this before. The Black Pearl mine is one that comes to mind, where I just park and hike the rest of the way in, whether it's half a mile, 2 miles like today was. For me, it's worth it to get up there and see it and document it the best I can, and also enjoy the view along the way, enjoy the exercise. It's definitely a different experience walking the trail as opposed to being in the Jeep. A little bit more intimate. But regardless, that's how I found the American Ores mine, and glad I checked it out. A little bummed about the weather, but it was still worth the stop. It's kind of the plan. Don't know how much of this will make the cut, but just chilling, drinking a beer. Come on. Come on. Do the thing. Might have to walk out to this vista. Darn. So I know I keep showing this view and showing how happy I am, but I am like genuinely stoked to be here. The sun is behind some clouds, but it's pretty much down. And spending golden hour, like flying the drone around first, and then setting up a time lapse, and then just being on the rim for just like 5 minutes, just soaking it all in. Just incredible. Like, I can't get over how incredible it is. And I'm literally like 2 sips into this beer, so I am by no means like out of my right mind. I'm just incredibly happy. Like, the trip's gone well so far. Just having a blast and just, you know, living my best life. Like, this is peak existence, or at least damn near close. So yeah, can't wait to see what the rest of the trip has in store. It's gonna be hard to top this view. Hands down, out of everywhere I've been, this is top 5 easy. Alright, so here's a sometimes I like to listen to music when I cook, and if you're wondering what kind of music I like, some of my favorite artists, at least in this playlist, Milky Chance is great, Portugal the Man,